I've got some headlines, all of them more or less to do with the situation in the world today. And I'm going to start with something that's down my alley just for the sake of it here. And it's these two, a couple that sold secrets or tried to sell secrets. And they were selling it to an FBI agent, undercover agent. And so the question is whether in the world of today it makes any sense to be a spy, or if it ever made any sense to be a spy. Okay, so it's something that you may want to consider. And the only thing I'm going to tell you about this is that comes to mind is you have people like Assange and Ed Snowden, and they work for the U.S. government. These are U.S. government operations.
There's a movie of Snowden on Netflix now.
I don't doubt it for a second.
I saw it there. I'm like, oh my god, dude.
Yeah, they're making them into heroes, you know.
Yeah.
But the issue is that one of the things that happens is when you have an asset like that out there, sometimes you have to sacrifice it. And so what Snowden and Assange may find out in the end, maybe, you know, is that at some point, for some reason, for whatever reason, the way things turn out, they might actually have to sacrifice them at the last moment and say, buddy, now we're going to make you for real. We're going to say that you were a spy, that you were working for the competition or whatever. Okay, another issue related to some of the things that are going on in the world. It always falls on the other side.
Why don't you just put it between the two things at the top?
No, well, yeah. Anyways, is the Taliban. They are asking, a lot of them are asking now, why did we fight? You know, you have all these guerrilla movements like in Cuba in 1959, Fidel Castro. Now you have these guys in Afghanistan. And a lot of these folks, after they conquer power, once they're up there, now they have to rule. And that, they find that that's a lot more difficult than doing the revolution. That was fun. You know, risking your life, getting a gun, killing someone. That was great. Yeah, that was adventure. That was great. Now you got to sit down at a desk.
Do bureaucracy.
and do some bureaucratic stuff. And the question is, you know, that's a lot harder to do. And right now the Taliban are you know, they say, the article is saying there, that there's a few guys at the top, they're doing quite well. And all the soldiers, the guys at the bottom, they're not doing as well. And they say, why did we fight? Is this what we fought for?
Well, they're not really made for that, I guess. Soldiers aren't really, you know, being a soldier doesn't make you a good leader, I guess.
Being a good soldier doesn't make you an economist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
For example, you got to run the economy of a country. Okay, and one of the questions there is, do we have the right leaders in the world to do economics for the world? You know, in every country of the world. And that's one of the things you got to put in your mind. See, in many countries you have this democratic system where they vote for a politician and he becomes the prime minister, the president, whatever, the head of the country. And the question is that the right guy? Does he know? Or is this just a guy that's up there who was lucky or whatever, got enough money, convinced people to vote for him? He's up there. Does this mean he's really qualified to take decisions on the economy of that country?
I mean, the next question would be, is anyone?
Well, some
There's
people,
a gradient.
some
Some
people,
are better than others.
Right, that's my point. Yeah. And you might not be selecting the top guy, maybe. You know, so democracy does not really guarantee that you get the qualified guy up there. Neither does a revolution like the Taliban's there. Okay.
Well, what does?
Huh?
What does?
Nothing does. It just
I thought there was an answer to that.
no answer to it. There is no magical.
There's no magical button.
No.
Give me the right guy, God.
Okay, and then we have another situation. We talked about Taiwan being a focal point in the East. And here's another focal point. We call it the East, but it's East Europe and Eastern Europe. And it's that the United States wants to incorporate both Georgia, a country that used to belong to the Soviet Union as a province, and Ukraine. They want to incorporate them into NATO, the military alliance of the West. And Russia says that if they do that, the West is overstepping. It's stepping across a red line, a line that they don't want them to cross, because if they do, there's going to be war. And so we have two situations now. We have one in Eastern Europe, which is Ukraine and Georgia, and then we have Taiwan in the East. Are these going to be the start of World War III? You know, this is something you got to think about, especially for this generation. You know, will there be a World War III? And if there is a World War III, will it involve these regions that we know very little? We don't even know where they are on the map. You know, it's like that. We have Taiwan on one end, and we have Ukraine and Georgia on the other.
Well, one thing about World War III is that people have gotten pretty used to peace, at least in first world countries. So they kind of take peace for granted. They kind of say, war never happened again. That's a thing of the past.
Yeah.
Not that anyone really articulates it as such, but it's kind of like that feel. Like no one really thinks about war.
But you know, if nobody thinks about war, but except the military of every country,
That's their job.
they're investing. Right, that's their job, and so they're investing in armaments and preparing the troops and all that stuff. They go on maneuvers. There's a lot going on out there that the common folk are not even aware of. Most of us we just punch our cards every day and that's it. But
I have
these
no
folks,
idea what the German military is doing. If someone asks me,
German military, what is that?
if there even is one, I don't know. I know there's the Bundeswehr, but
Yeah.
I don't think they got that. But
The Gestapo?
Lufthansa is the most they have. But yeah, what are they doing? I don't know. I have no idea because it doesn't concern me in a way. But I think the same applies to most people that aren't like in a military family or have military ties. They don't really. It's not a part of their world.
Yeah. But one of the things that you got to consider is the possibility of World War III, and maybe we're due for a world war because remember we had World War I, then what was it like 20 years later we had World War II, and
late,
now
right?
it's been a long time. We need another war, guys. Let's do something about that. Okay, one of the issues that I brought up was this thing about women matching men. Lots of comments on that, and we had a little bit of discussion today here with Hans. And
I beat him up, guys. Don't worry, I got him.
Yeah, I'm not throwing anything down anybody's throat. I'm asking questions. That's all I'm doing. And some people say, "Oh, did your wife make you say that?" Or, no. The issue here is I'm asking questions. I don't know the answer.
I'm asking the questions around here.
I'm just asking. Okay. And what's the question? Well, here you see the one guy put a note there that says a female would not be ranked 11th in a male sport, but rather wouldn't even make the top 6,000. And we're talking about maybe sports like, rough sports like wrestling and, fighting and so on of any kind. And so the guy gives as an example the running, again, which I gave the other day. It says, for example, the women's world record in the 100-meter sprint is 10.49 seconds, right? This record by Florence Griffith, okay, has stood since 1988, has never been seriously challenged by a female, okay? And so he says that even high school running boys can beat her. And I'm not sure if that's true. Here's the other side of that coin, okay, if you're interested. If I can get it up here.
No, a little lower.
Where is it?
Want me to do it?
There we go.
No. You gotta lower the other one, no? There we go.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay, I wanted to put it here. That's what it was. Okay, so here you see the ranking. Florence would come in third if she ran in 1936. Okay, and the 100-meter dash was won by Jesse Owens. And he had a 10.3, and he was the world champion at the time. Okay, now you might say, well, Bill, you're comparing apples and oranges. Yeah, maybe I am. My point here is that women have come up the ranks, and you can see there are two of the top runners of today, contemporary days, and they would come up in third and fifth place in that race. So they have come up to speed over the years. They would have beaten those last three guys there, okay, because they were at 10.6. So I'm not sure how many boys in Dallas, Texas would beat these women, okay? That's easy to say, but hard to do, okay? These women run fast. I'm not saying they would beat all men, but they've come up the ranks. And the question is, if we give them enough time, another 100 years, will women run as fast as men? And one of the issues I raised with Hans today is, you have a height difference. Like if you take Usain Bolt, he's probably taller than Griffith Joyner. But if you get a woman that, just an example, okay? Don't beat me up on this. That has the same height, the same leg spread, good muscles in the legs. Well, maybe she can run just as fast as Bolt. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, give it another 100 years, and maybe we progress to the point where women catch up. And one of the issues there is also this dimorphism. Right now, if you take heights of women and men in the world, well, you're going to see a difference. Men in general are taller than women. Given enough time, will that dimorphism disappear? And again, I'm asking a question. People say, well, what are you saying? Yeah, I'm just asking a question. Will it disappear?
How dare you?
How dare I say that?
How dare you? Are you a feminist, boss? What is this shit?
No, I'm just putting my finger in your wound. I want to make sure people think about these things. Will women catch up? One of the things you got to look at is, in among the primates, you have, for example, the gorillas. The gorilla male is much bigger than the female gorilla. But remember, these are monkeys that are in the wild. They're in the hunter-gathering stage. Okay, we evolved from there, and we are the ones, the monkeys with the least dimorphism among all these apes. And so the question is that because, we went from hunter-gathering to being military to, we used to do all the wars, women stayed at home, and today we're all in the office, and so there's not that much competition from a physical point of view.
We don't do that much heavy lifting compared to gorillas.
How will that evolve? And then another bit of information you may want to keep in mind is that women live longer than men. Is that hardwired into our species that females have to live longer than men?
Have to. The way you say it, you sound old, but like you're waiting for that. Oh my God, they have to live to 110. I feel bad for them.
Yeah, on the average, women live longer. Is that hardwired, or is that something men can catch up with women given enough time?
Well, I guess the question is more: do they have the potential for longer life? Because obviously they can get run over.
In other words, which one of these categories, whatever you want to call it, are we hardwired? Which ones have we learned over time? Which ones can we overcome? These are the questions, and these are just questions. I ask questions, I don't answer them. Okay. Along the same line, fella says, come on. Why am I having so many problems with this today?
It's pretty in between.
Yeah, but it is. Okay. What is the mechanism by which inbreeding causes garbage stock children?
What?
Yeah, because the issue is, did the royal family have hemophilia because they were inbred or because they happen to have hemophilia allele? Okay. Would the inbreeding have caused hemophilia if neither parent had that allele? In conservation biology, there is a phenomenon where a population with low genetic diversity and the associated problems can overcome these problems without increasing their genetic diversity. Okay? It simply requires that the frequency of healthy alleles is increased and that the defective alleles are bred out. My answer is, I'm not a specialist in all this stuff. All I can tell you is that history has shown to me, at least to me, for whatever reason, magic you want to call it, whatever, that inbreeding leads to bad DNA. In other words, the kids that are born after 2-3 generations of inbreeding turn out bad for one reason or another. They could be mentally or physically handicapped in some way after several generations. And I don't know if that's the reason that in the past they decided that sisters can't marry brothers or sons can't marry mothers and so on. Maybe at some point humans realized that caused a problem, and so they stopped that. But at one point, it was a free for all. Everybody could sleep with everybody, and we stopped that a long time ago in the days of the caves. And today, if we continue inbreeding, for example, if you marry your sister, you're a guy, you marry your sister, you have a kid, or you have several kids. Now they marry among them, they have kids, and they marry among them. How long can we keep that up to the point where we start having some physical or mental problems? And I'm saying that you can't continue doing that. But that is what the human race has been doing for 200,000 years, and that's been accentuated in the last 200 years because that's when the population increased exponentially. So I'm saying that you can't keep inbreeding. Now, what the mechanism is as far as the alleles, I can't tell you. I'm not an expert on that.
Why would an exponential rise in global population make inbreeding genetic problems worse?
I'm not sure about why it would, but all I'm saying is it seems like we're 8 billion people today. When I was born, we were 2.5 billion. So the population has tripled since I was born, okay, on the earth. And that population doubled from even more than doubled since about 1820 when we reached a billion. That's a calculation they made. And that population of 1 billion came from the 300 million at the beginning of the Christian era. So, you see this progression. And, first of all, you have these founder effects and population bottlenecks that chop off part of humanity, through disease, wars, whatever, people who don't reproduce. So we don't come from the 300 million. We come from a portion of those 300 million. And from the 1 billion in the 19th century, we come from a portion of that 1 billion and so on down the line. So we're always a percentage. We come from a percentage of the people in the past. And so all I can say is that, through these population bottlenecks, which is usually related to diseases, it chops off humanity, all those people who do not have natural defenses. So what you can be sure of today is that if you have defenses today, it's because our grandfathers, great-grandfathers, whatever, they had the right stock to pass certain diseases, while others who did not, they fell behind.
They kind of slept on that COVID defense, though.
Well, you can't hit them up. I mean, we had AIDS and so on. We don't have natural defenses against all of that.
Actually, that's a good question. Did they invent COVID to give us a new infection to fight off? That's some deep shit. Someone's listening high up.
So you're saying that they did this in the lab?
That's what I'm saying. Like, what if they listen to you and they're like, "Oh, Bill's saying that new species or to how do you say this? Improve genetic diversity. We need new illnesses that we haven't yet fought, so we have to make them.
Well, one guy there, in fact, I think one of the comments there is that, in fact, this was created not only COVID, but in general, the people who rule, they want to chop off some of humanity off because we're too many people already. We're 8 billion people, or close to that, and that number of people with the resources we have on Earth is unsustainable. That's the argument.
Yeah,
okay?
but who would want
so,
which high up would want to do that in their own backyard? Like, if we're gonna cut off a whole bunch of people, and let's say I'm the Chinese overlord person, why would I throw it in China? Why not in someone else's backyard?
Well, remember, every country has its own problems. And so if you see too many people in one country, you might say, well, I got to chop off half of the Indian population in India, and I don't know, or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe the enemy says, I'll do it for you, don't worry.
Or they trade. Yeah, hey guys, we need a war so that let's help each other out, cut our population down.
But my argument is, if you cut population down, let's say we get rid of 1 billion people, any way you want, disease, war, whatever, it doesn't matter. You chop off 1 billion people, so instead of 8 billion, we're 7 billion or 6 billion or 5 billion, you keep chopping off billions. All you're doing is reducing demand. Now you have less demand, and I think what's going to happen is you're going to have a lot of these, the opposite effect. The economy is going to fall to pieces.
What you do is you look for the people who aren't buying anything anymore and you kill them. That's how you do it, because then you kill off the people who aren't adding to the demand.
Can you delete 3 billion people from Earth and still have demand?
You kill the people who already don't have demand, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay, but even if you do that, I mean, you remove the people who don't purchase or whatever. Right. Okay, so let's assume there's
by that definition,
1 billion people. you get rid of 1 billion people. Can you live with the remaining people? Because a lot of those people are maybe workers or whatever. So
yeah, but exactly. We have too many old people, China, U.S., to benefit from getting rid of the
retired. I'm not old. I'm young.
That.
I'm only 20 years old. Okay, let's continue here along the same lines with. Oh my God! Jeez, why did it fall off to the other side? Give me a second here, guys. Got it there? Okay. Here it is. This guy says, is it possible that a controlled reduction in population might be accomplished when taking the global economics into consideration? Kill off all the non-productive, rebellious people and keep all the mindless workers.
They might be mindful.
Okay, the economic instabilities might be another reason for them to kill off a certain, I'm talking about the New World Order people, or the people who rule. The economic inabilities might be another reason for them to kill off a certain amount of the population, all the while ushering in a global workforce program. Less creditors means less debtors need to pay off. Okay, so if we get rid of half the population in the world, for example, just an example, is that good for us, or will that kill our economy?
I mean, this amounts to kill off all the people who are bad for the economy, right?
Well, how do you tell in 8 billion people who's good and who's bad? I mean, I'm just giving an example. We chop off 4 billion people. Let's call them the old people. We chop off anyone over 60. That's me. Okay? Or whatever, over 70, any age you want.
Pick a number.
Yeah, pick a number. Anything about that we kill, like
Logan's
Run, right? And so the question is, are we killing the economy by doing that? Because, we got rid of the people who consume resources, but at the same time, that consumption is what drives the economy. So it's like shooting yourself in the foot. That's the way I look at it, at least. Anyways, I don't think you can get rid of people.
Yeah, of course you'd say that. You're 68 or something. You're trying to save yourself.
I'm only 20 years old. Yeah. Oh my God! Come on.
Bars, what are you doing? You're putting it at the top there.
Doesn't work here. Okay. One guy wrote to me and says, I solved the money problem. No crypto bullshit. No shiny yellow rocks. A completely new form of physical cash. A simple yet powerful idea. What can I say about this? I'm saying that this is not an issue of creating new money. You can replace green money with brown money. We haven't solved the problem. The issue is if we have no jobs. And right now we're creating a lot of jobs in the internet business, in the internet world, and we're not creating jobs where it counts, which is in manufacturing and agriculture, where you produce something useful, when you have real growth. But when you have services, any kind of services for that matter, but primarily within services, the services in the internet business, what are you creating? One guy sings, the other guy pays him. And what have we done? What has increased in growth, in economic growth?
Happiness.
And that's what people say. It's just entertainment. The only time it turns into growth is when that money is circulated and goes into producing something like roads, houses, cars, tangible things. Until you produce something tangible such as that, what have you built? All you did, one guy sings and that song went away. It was 2 seconds of pleasure.
Why is tangibility the deciding factor of usefulness?
Because I'm saying growth. Not usefulness, growth. Okay. I'm saying here's God, up there in the sky, and you're next to him and you're looking down on earth. What do you see? Well, if you look at some American Indians in the 19th century, they had a bunch of teepees. No roads, some buffalo out there, yeah. And you look there and you say, what is there? How can I tell by looking how advanced that civilization is? Now look at the same area, 21st century, and we're looking down at New York City, and you see skyscrapers and so on. Well, if you compare those 2 scenarios, one with skyscrapers, the other one with teepees, you say, well, there's growth. There's been some economic development. Over here, what has there been? Nothing. You can tell just by looking. And what are you staring at? You're looking at real things. You're not looking at the songs they made. You're not looking at the dances they made. None of that. You're just looking at what they have, the real things. That's the way I look at it. So how do you tell that a country has growth or has grown economically? By looking from the sky and saying, what have they built? You look at Germany, and you take any country in Africa, and I'm sure if you compare those from the sky, you say, well, Germany's a more advanced nation, and they have a better standard of living. And again, we're not saying that they're happier or anything like that. We're just saying it has a greater standard of living simply by the construction that you see from the sky. That's what I'm saying. What are you looking at? Real things. You're not looking at the songs. You're not looking at the haircuts. All the actors and the internet. All that stuff is BS. That's the way I look at it. Yes? No? Maybe?
It's way more complicated
than
that, I think.
Good. That's a yes.
Yeah. That's a 2-hour discussion right now. Oh, that's why I'm quiet.
Okay.
I'll let it slide.
Take a rain check on that. Okay. Final issue says, do you have an idea on what's the next dominant species will be after us?
Cockroaches.
Everybody says the cockroach. If you ask that question to a million people,
everybody
would say the cockroaches. They'll survive. Is it the cockroaches? Or will the cockroaches come down with us? We'll be eating cockroaches at the last moment.
We try to kill them now and we can't kill them.
Yes, we can.
No. Why don't we all join together to kill the cockroaches and mosquitoes? Because we can't.
Yeah, maybe.
No one wants to see those dudes. If they went extinct, it wouldn't be like the lions where everyone's like, oh, the lions are going extinct. If someone said the cockroaches is going extinct, everyone would be like, good.
Okay, let me turn that thought around for you. Let me turn it around. In the Carboniferous era, there were tons of insects. And that's what a lot of the amphibians ate. They had, these dragonflies with 2-meter long wings, flying around. They were tiny airplanes. They're no longer around. And so the question is, hold it. These dragonflies, they were there. I mean, I'm just mentioning one animal, right? They were flying all around, and they filled the skies, etc. I mean, I don't know how many there were, probably tons of them. And today they're not around. So something happened to them. And the question, huh? Yeah, but not those, not those monsters. Okay. Those would pull you up and take you.
They shrunk a bit.
They shrunk a bit. We have a different type of dragonflies today, but this is the issue. A lot of the insects that existed, in the past, even in the Cretaceous, in the Jurassic, etc., there were insects all around. Where are they now? What happened to them? Remember, there were different plants also in those days. So, you had one insect eating another insect, whatever. Now, there was a herbivorous insect that probably ate whatever plant was around. Certainly no angiosperms, because there were no angiosperms in those days. It hadn't been invented yet. So they ate something else. And when those plants went away, well, so did the insects and the amphibians and all these other animals. The whole system collapsed. And so even if the cockroaches survive, so they rule the planet after us. Great.
And they have to learn to eat them weeds.
Especially weeds.
Whatever eats the weeds is going to be
after us. I say the same thing. I'm saying that it's probably going to be...
Does anything eat weeds?
There are insects that eat the weeds, stuff that we don't eat. We don't eat all the angiosperms, by the way. The weeds... A lot of those are, they're angiosperms, but we don't eat them. We don't eat every angiosperm out there. We picked especially the grasses. That's what we chose. We chose wheat, corn, and so on. Those are the grasses, the family of the grasses. And so we eat those. And there's a lot of stuff out there that we don't eat, like cactus. Not too many. I don't know if anyone eats cactus. But,
actually, yeah, we drink cactus.
Oh, it could be, yeah. I mean, but in general, what we eat are the grasses. And once we're gone, the grasses are probably going to be gone as well.
You make it sound like cows.
Well, no, because they're going to be taken over by the weeds that
they're now stronger.
We're fighting the weeds every day. We throw weed killer, etc. And all these weeds are getting stronger day by day.
The day we're gone, those weeds are just going to destroy the tomato. Holy crap. Yeah.